Bishop Gretchen got the biggest laughs. And she led us into a science lesson. I hope there's not a test at the end of the day, because I wasn't ready with my notes quick enough to get all of that down. So thank you for helping us laugh and have a little bit of that joy for sure. And secondly, you all speak from different experiences in different ways, and yet you all might all even use the word connection, you know? And so what rose to the top for me was the natural state that you all spiritually understand that everything is connected, right? But that we live in a world where sometimes we push things apart, and we say, you're not part of me, like you said, Bishop Gretchen. And so that's the tension, I think, that we live with. So a question I have for each of you, we just recently had Martin Luther King's holiday celebration, and he reminded us that the arc of the universe bends towards justice. Where do you think we are in that bend right now? Anyway, there's no order now.
A Christmas card that said, the light shines in the darkness and the darkness cannot overcome it, but not for lack of trying. And I was taken aback by that. And so that's the first thing I thought of when you talked about the arc of the universe that bends towards justice. Yes, and there are forces that try to push it back. And so when I think about where we are, I believe that contrary to all evidence, this is God's world, and God's will be done. The love wins, that God triumphs. But sometimes it's hard to see that. And I think there are times when we go backwards. Now, I have good friends who are older than me, and they participated in the Freedom Bus rides and the marches. And so they remind me that actually, even though I think things look really bad in terms of some aspects of our life, I'm a bishop. When I was born, this could not have happened, right? That we look at horrific things happening in terms of our race relations, but we're actually saying they're horrific, right? That we understand, well, many of us, not all, that treaty rights are being violated, and we're talking about it that way, you know. And so, and we're really starting to have a way more of a consciousness about care of creation and the challenges of climate change. So while I think there are forces that are actively resisting, and while I can't give you a precise word on, you know, the 32nd degrees in terms of that arc, I think that it does always bend towards justice, and our job is to make sure that those forces that try to push it back don't succeed.
One of the huge new realities that we all live with today is social media. And what happened, it started, was sitting the other night, I saw that short clip of Rodney King in Los Angeles, who was beaten to a pulp almost because of his arrest over some minor thing. It wasn't very significant, but somebody videoed that. And to listen this morning on the radio, for example, what's going on, immediately we know what's going on in Venezuela. It's not a very happy state right now, very dangerous. Or in Myanmar and the Rohingya. Those are things that have come to our attention. Now, that doesn't solve it, but it does, I think, make us all more aware of what we should be about in terms of a people of God, living that kingdom of justice that's so critically important. And how do we use that media to proclaim those values that are valuable and are life-giving? I'm appalled in the media, especially in things like Facebook, of how people will use that medium to beat up one another attitudinally. It's awful. It is awful. Whether it's cartoon or comments or whatever it might be, you can't justify that in terms of the law of charity of God. You can't justify it. Yet it's rampant. We got to change that. That's a cultural thing. It's a wind that blows that needs to be changed. And that's not an easy task, but we need to do it.
As a citizen of the Caldwell tribe and a citizen it's like we're living in, two worlds, both wanting to be free. We're still tribal, but we're living in the U.S. government. We're sovereigns. We're our own governments, but we're dependent on the federal government to uphold that trust responsibility that they signed on to with the treaties and executive orders that formed our reservations and our limited access to our homeland. So kind of along those lines, living in those two worlds, I think, and the politics of today is there's too much right and there's too much left. We need to work to get back towards the middle. We're Americans. We're not Republicans, Democrats, independents, and we need to get back to that. I think for me anyway, that the politics of today, or these representatives that we're putting into these offices, have forgotten what their job is. It's to work for us. It's to represent us, not represent themselves or their interests, or going as far as pushing their beliefs off on us. So if you're conservative or you're liberal or you're independent, that's fine. You can walk that road, but don't degrade or talk bad about somebody who's not necessarily following right behind you on that road. We're all different, and we all see things differently, but that's what makes us who we are and what we are as a country. It's the ability to express yourself without worrying about being ridiculed for being a tribal member or for being whoever. And we've forgotten about that. These people we're putting in these offices lose their common sense and remember what they're what they're supposed to be doing there. And that's working for us, representing our needs and taking care of us, not pushing out their own personal beliefs or telling us we're wrong because we're not following them. We got to get back to the middle where these people are representing us as people. And that's it. We're people, and these guys need to remember that. It's just too easy to ignore those folks who don't believe as you do. And I think our politics today is way too far out.
And co-panelists here. Bishop, as she gave us a biology lesson, I was fascinated by that, by the way. And we are connected. We really are. And I think that somehow we forget that, ignore it, don't pay any attention to it. Again, I'm a child of the 60s. But yet I remember a group, they were called 3 Dog Night. And they made a song, and I still listen to that, to some of the music, but they made a song and it was called The Family of Man. I keep hearkening back to that, which was a portion of Dr. King's dream, a part of what he was working towards. It's that black people, white people, straight people, gay people, male, female, we're all connected. We really are. And when I attack or when others attack me, it's just like the bishop said, I'm attacking myself. Because for me, the word of God is either true or it's not. And God either is, no matter what we call him or her, either is or is not, either exists or doesn't. And in the scriptures that I read, to paraphrase it says, and from one blood, from one man, he made all the nations of men, everybody. And he appointed their boundaries. And he set in place this arc towards justice. And we either follow that arc or we don't. Where are we, to answer his question, the moderator's question, where are we? What degree do we sit at? I have no idea. I agree with the other bishop. I think
things are terrible when we look at it in this spot and place and time. But if we harken back just 100 years, and we go back to, I don't know, 1919, you know, where were we then as far as race relations? Where were we then as far as economics? Where were we then as far as family? Where were we? And then fast forward. So is it slow again? I'm impatient. Yes, I am. Is the arc of justice very slow? Yes, it is. But then that leads me to another place of where God exists in relationship to time. You know, 80, 90 years to me is, oh my goodness, but to him, it's like yesterday. So